So, like we discussed in our previous sessions, so you have done the requirement analysis, you talked to a lot of business stakeholders, and you gathered the requirements, you documented them as BRs and FRs. Anyway, the agile user stories will come to that part. Let's say you have documented the user stories as well with supporting documents and everything. So, how do you communicate it with your stakeholders in the first place? Then, how do you communicate it to the technical team, the developers, the testers, and everyone? So, you are the middleman for everything. So, you are the owner of the requirements. So, all the requirements are sitting with you. So, from time to time in agile methodology, from time to time, you will be doing this. But in waterfall methodologies, once you have done everything, like you have whole requirements documented at once, and once the documentation is complete, you will go to the business to set up a series of sessions to walk them through the requirements and get the sign off from them. But in agile you will have user stories, and when you are working on the user stories, periodically in each sprint, before each sprint you will go to the business, get your user stories approved before passing on them to the developer team. So let's look at these communication steps. So, what is requirement communication? It's a collection of activities and considerations for expressing the output of the requirement analysis and documentation. So, whatever you have done till now and documented till now, you have to communicate it to the business so that they can understand it, and they will have an idea of what they want to have in their system, right? So they will verify and read through them line by line the document and provide their approval to you. But even though if you are submitting them, you need to be prepared to give presentations and communicate them in all effective ways however they need, and verifying them again, verifying with them whatever they have given is documented properly or not, and gain their approval. So this slide we have seen in the beginning. So we have requirement documents, notes from gathering sessions, and stakeholder analysis. So after that, okay, so this is different actually. So we will have requirement documents from whatever the analysis we have done, and we have notes from the gathering sessions or elicitation methods, whatever we have seen. We go through the workshops, we go through prototyping, we go through brainstorming sessions. We collectively gather all the information whatever we pondered from the other sessions, and prepare a full-fledged documentation if it is in the waterfall model. And if it is user stories, we document each user story separately and then present it to the stakeholders. And when you present them to the stakeholders, at this point of time also you will be getting some kind of amendments or changes to the requirements. So we are not going to the change management process yet because the requirements are not yet approved. We are still in the requirement stage. So when you are communicating the requirements to stakeholders, they come up with improvements, changes, recommendations, additions, anything. So if any addition is coming like a big change other than what we have agreed before, then it goes to the higher management of hierarchy. But if we have missed any requirements, or if we have not documented anything properly, or if we are we like omitted anything knowingly or unknowingly, then those needs to be reiterated again, brought into the discussions. And if the discussions has happened and we just forgot to document, just update the documentation with whatever is missing, then do changes to wherever it is needed, and then send again for the approval. So outstanding requirement issues needing further gathering, analysis, and documentation. So if any requirements themselves are missed, yeah, you go for gathering, elicitation, analysis again, and document them. And project scope changes, as I told you, if there is any big thing which is going to be included in the project after we agreed to do something, then yeah, it will go to the higher management. If they decide to take it in, yeah, we will take it in, or else we will push it for the next release or next iteration of the project. And then the requirements package, again we'll finish up all the change work, and then we'll update the documentation and resubmit for approval to the business. So finally, if everything is good and everyone is on the same page regarding the needs and requirements, yeah, the sign off and approval of the requirements will happen. So in waterfall, the whole bunch of requirements, like it sometimes it will be like 500 600 pages. So it will go to the business and you will get the sign off on the whole project requirements at once. But in agile methodologies, so every sprint you will have like 10 or 5 to 10 stories, and you will be doing the requirements only for those 10 stories in those 2 weeks or 5 stories, and get the approval for them before the next sprint is started, so that you can pass this to the next sprint for development. Any questions?
No, no.
Good. Okay. So activities and tasks. So requirement communication plan. There should be a requirement communication plan. How are we going to handle it? You prepare the presentation material. You set up the meetings with the business holders, a series of meetings. If it is waterfall, you will have 500 pages to discuss. So you need at least 20 sessions or 30 sessions to go over all the requirements, walk them through the requirements, and manage any requirement conflicts. If there are multiple teams working simultaneously, then sometimes your requirements will be conflicting with other teams as well. So you should be managing those requirement conflicts as well. And yeah, these will come into picture if the same business is allocated to the two different teams. They'll say that, oh, the other team has gathered a different kind of requirement, you are asking for a different thing. Then you go to the other team, set up a meeting, talk to them, and resolve and get both of them on the same page, or get the business to agreement on the same thing, and then go in with the requirements. So determine appropriate requirements format. So this will be already determined by the company or organization, and you will use the same format and create the requirements package. So that's what we discussed now, and conduct presentations, reviews, and obtain the requirement sign off if everything is good. So conflict management, yes. So typically arises when multiple teams are involved. Just like I said now. So when there are multiple teams involved, you will have sometimes you will have contradictory requirements, which you need to research, discuss, meet with them, and resolve those things before getting the approval. So same thing again. So determine requirements format and packaging. So this will be a predefined format for each company. You will be using that, and understand stakeholder communication needs. So when are they available? How are they available? Are they available to meet directly, or they are only available for online calls, or most of them are through email? Sometimes if they are through email, yeah, you can send them and ask them to review it if it is a story card or one or two story cards. But if it is a waterfall model, definitely everyone will be available. So assess and select appropriate documentation. So same thing again. So these are all different slides with the same communication stuff. To review, prioritize, to communicate the status, ensure quality or enhance clarity, obtain buy-in, and sign off. So basic thing you have to understand is present it in a very clear and elaborated way, so that business understands each and every aspect as the requirement as they have defined or given them to you, and get the sign off of the requirements. So okay. So this is how you communicate the requirements, and this is for business. And after the sign off is done, You will set up a walkthrough session with your dev and QA teams. So this is an ongoing process if it is in agile methodology. So every sprint, before every sprint, you will complete your story cards, assign story cards. You get the sign off on them, and once you get the sign off for your story cards, you set up a meeting with your dev and QA, and then you communicate it to them how the requirements are, what is the feature about, and what is the acceptance criteria, and the developer will use your documentation to code that, and the tester will use the acceptance criteria defined by you to design his test cases. So what is a user story, what is acceptance criteria, we'll dig that into detail in our next session. So I'll completely dedicate that session to agile methodologies, and after that we'll go through the different types of diagrams which are widely used, at least before agile methodologies came into existence, so that you can have just a brief idea of that. And then after that we'll go into the insurance and guidewire concepts. Yeah.
Sure, sir.
Yeah, any questions in today's session?
No, Sam, we are good.
Okay. Okay, yeah, if everyone is good. So actually, I am canceling tomorrow's session. Tomorrow we won't be having. So this week I'm a little bit busy with some other things. From next week, so we will have continuously sessions. So yeah, just try to read on use cases and use case diagrams, and try to write. Yeah, I'll share this video anyway, right? So you will have the template in this video. Use that template to write the use case for a movie reservation system, and try to incorporate as many as tasks a user or customer can do with that reservation system, and try to write down the alternate flows and exception flows as well, and see. Yeah. Okay.